My grandfather saw a skinwalker. My grandfather told me a story once. As we sat around a campfire in his backyard in a cool night of the Arizona desert. The horizon was clear and each star twinkled in the purple sky with a full fat moon hanging low over the mountains. His voice was raspy and gravelly, the result of a lifetime of smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. The fire danced and shined across his wide, dark eyes as he settled into his seat, ready to tell his story. Way back when I was a boy, about your age, he began. I live outside an Apache reservation with your great grandfather. He had returned from the war and set about raising horses and cattle on a 100-acre ranch settled between a Brumley mountainside with dirt good for growing thorn brush and not much else. One night, my mother was sick, and Pa and I took a trip into town, about 50 miles away, straight through a dry desert, over washed-out creek and some old abandoned farmsteads. The fire sparked, and a log cracked, jolting me out of the story. What's next? I asked. Settle down, boy. You'll hear soon enough. Pa and I were driving in an old Ford pickup truck. I remember it was dark out, inky and thick, with only the lights of our old truck lighting up the road. I remember too when the engine began to sputter and the truck slowed to a jerky stop. God damn it, Pa said, guiding the Ford to the side of the road as it coasted to a halt. See here, son, as he stepped out into the darkness, shutting the door with a heavy thud. My window was down and the cool desert air was breezy and felt good on my hot face and neck. Pa was getting water from the back to cool the engine, and that's when I smelled it. Rotten eggs. Strange, I thought, to smell sulfur in the desert. My nose also picked up carrion, like one of them dead bloated cattle that would drop from the heat and lay there until the crows pecked enough holes in their hides to cause the whole thing to explode. It stank, and I gagged. My skin started to tingle too. The back of my neck felt itchy, and my face started to get hot. The wind stopped blowing and hung still and heavy, with a stink filling the cab. Pa? I called. Pa! Pa! No answer. My heart started beating, and I felt such a fear in me, in my bones, in my chest. Boy, I tell you, I never felt fear like this. Not until Vietnam, not until I saw men dying around me. I locked the door and reached over for my pa's door and saw a shadow bound across the road. Through both dim beams of light across the partly open domed hood, Grandfather paused. He spit a fat wad of tobacco spit off to his side and he looked pensively into the darkness. I realized I was holding my breath and gasped for air. The night was cool, but I was sweating and clammy. Well, what happened? What about your father? What did you see? He sighed. A creature. He shook his head. You have to understand, there were legends. Old legends. Older than the rock cairns out in the valley, older still than Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, than the old Indian chiefs and their shamans, the Apache and Hopi and Cherokee, and all them old tribe and first peoples. They told tales, old story about dark Indian magic, a deal made with the old spirits of blood sacrifice to gain power, old power, enough to fight each other and the Spaniards and later the white men that came for their land and women. They called them He paused. Grandfather took a deep breath and bodied forward into his tale. Across the fire and the sky, the desert, the creek, the moon, the sun, and the old mountains, he bodied forward. They called them skinwalkers, shape changers, old warriors resurrected as skinless men, all sinew and muscle, walking on their legs with torso of a man and a head of a coyote. But messed up, boy, long and malformed snout, teeth like Bowie knife, long arms, and standing 7 foot, even hunched over. They'd got the old cowboys and the white riders. They'd run through bullets and sabers, part the Spanish armor like it was a potato sack. Willie too, they could change their voice to match a person you knew or might know. Boy, that what I saw, big and fast, only for a second. It ran across the road, gray and mottled, muscle flexing under its leg, hooves clumping on the road, stringy muscle, hunched shoulders, and it turned, looked right into the cab, looked right into my eyes, and I swear, boy, I swear, it grinned at me. I sank into my seat in shock, in fear, shaking. I knew death was near. The air was electric. I smelled ozone and brimstone. The air felt like right before the lightning comes and blows a tree to smithereens, charged and full with power. I yelled for my pa, but no words came out, just a dry squeak. I was shaking as grandfather told his story. He was still here, so I know he lived. But the supernatural always fascinated me, and even now I felt the force of his words. The real power of a skinwalker was trickery. Sure, they could change their voices, but also their skin. That's why gods took their hide, so they could take others. Not for long, the legends say. Maybe an hour before the soul of the skin they wore would come looking for their mortar shell before going to whatever hell awaited them. Though I think that getting skinned alive was hell enough. A minute passed in what felt like a lifetime, 1 second in 1,000 years. My father's door opened, and I jerked my head to the left, putting my fist up to fend off attack. Son, it's me, my father said before climbing into the cab. He grasped the steering wheel and pulled himself awkwardly, jerking himself into the seat. I cringed into the corner. I looked at him. I looked hard. Boy, your great grandfather was a good man. Treated me and my mama right. He fought the Nazis and saw the worst of man in Poland when he freed all them camps. And now I was taking his measure. Is this my father? Do I make a run or do I die? Is it him or not? Let's go get that medicine for your ma. As he pulled the truck into gear and pulled it out onto the road. And our trip resumed. I guess it was him after all. But how did you know? Was it because he said something about your mom? No, boy. I knew because out the window, out the corner of my eye, I seen that beast running 50 miles an hour right next to the car, looking at me with them yellow eyes and grinning mouth. I looked and saw it, hunched and angry, running next to us, boy. My pa kept his eye on the road. Look straight forward, son, he said. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. That's how I knew, boy.